Today, we're just going to take a case study. Our product will be Chipper Cash. We are building on Chipper Cash where we can have the bill payment solution on Chipper Cash. Bill payment solution involves PlayBet Nigeria, buying utility bills for your electricity. You can even buy your data and airtime, right? Now, when you and the developers as a product manager coming, speaking with the developers, you need to break these tasks down into something that is well related to them. You need to come up with the necessary user stories and acceptance criteria. You need to grade each task based on story points. You want to know if you're going to build this based on an MPIC, and then you want to discuss timeline. So timeline as a whole, you want to talk about the duration of time, the frequency. You want to talk about the goal. So first things first, what is the goal for this particular case study? The case study is building a bill payment solution on our already existing product, Chipper Cash. That is the goal. What is the duration? We want to work within the next 2 weeks. How fast do we want to go? Do we want to give an MVP? The MVP will be for just airtime and data, or do we want to deliver on all the features, including booking, flight ticket, and the co? So these are things that needs to be discussed during the entire sprint planning process, right? And as a product manager, this is a backlog of a bunch of items you want to build. The bill payment solution is quite fast, and if you are going to be building one particular thing, you need to prioritize what is the market requirement, what are the customers actually looking for, what is the stakeholder saying, what is sales and marketing selling. And these meetings are usually held simultaneously with the development team, and the organization actually has a Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master will basically facilitate the entire meeting. We'll discuss these are the features, how we could prioritize and align, and then the development team say, this will take us 2 to 3 weeks to develop. We separate each task based on the importance of each personnel, and then we swing into action, right? So there are components for effective sprint planning. We're reviewing the backlog, we are setting sprint goals, we are breaking down the tasks and estimation, we're building the acceptance criteria for us to say, okay, if so and so is done, then we can regard this task as done. If we can purchase MTN 1,000 naira successfully, then we can regard that task as done. Right? Those are the things you want to know, that these are the key components of effective sprint planning. So furthermore, we can talk about the impact of sprint planning on team efficiency. So directly, a lot of things has positive and negative impacts when it comes to sprint planning. So it helps in everybody knowing what the goal of this particular 2 weeks or 4 week sprint is. You know the expectation, or at the end of this sprint, we want customers to be able to purchase Glow, recharge card, and data off our application. We can reduce scrape as much as necessary, and we can also know what we want to prioritize. Bill payment is a large feature, right? But we can understand that we want to prioritize the airtime purchase and the data purchase. We want to prioritize the utility bill for electricity, water supply, paying for jam ahead of betting, right? You know what is important. So what each sprint can actually contain based on the conversation. So it actually helps improve team collaboration and communication, because everybody is chipping in. I think we can do this in 2 weeks. I think we can do this in 2 weeks. This might take longer, and this and that. So it's quite impressive. It really helps the bond between teams. It helps the development team to often share more light as regards how this entire process is going to go. So this is how sprint planning process works, by step overview, right? So first thing is to review the backlog of items with the team. So as a product manager or the Scrum Master, you're listing, we want to do bill payment solution on our already existing platform. What we want to do is data purchase, airtime purchase, pay for electricity bill, pay for jam, book flight tickets, PlayBet Nigeria, pay for your betting wallet and all of that. That's about 6 items I've itemized already. These are a lot of things listed on the backlog. So for this sprint, we're like, based on prioritization, we are picking airtime, data purchase, and electricity bill. Those are 3 things. That is selecting the items based on priority, right? And based on team capacity. We have 3 backend developers. They can take it one, and then provide the necessary endpoints so that the front-end guy can implement. We can now break that down into tasks. User stories, acceptance criteria. As a user, I want to be able to, very straightforward, I want to be able to purchase airtime on my Chipper Cash app so that I can use the airtime to recharge my phone number and make calls. Plain to user story, acceptance criteria. User should be able to open their application and see bill payment. User should be able to select MTN, Glow, or 9mobile. User should be able to select a specific amount. User should be able to input their phone number and make a transfer. User should be able to put in their PIN. Those are things you want to break down into the various tasks for a developer to work on. So we can estimate the tasks and even assign them. We can have a team that can say, this is estimated around. You can do this in 2 days, and we can estimate the story points of 2 points. We can do this because of based on time. Story points are usually from lowest 0 to as much as possible 5. 5 being the highest. Like, okay, work is going to take us a lot of time, right? After that, you can now finalize the sprint goal. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. So The key considerations are team availability, of course. Every member that are going to participate on a particular task has to be available. We need to discuss the dependency, or we need the API documentation of whoever we are going to be integrating with. Are we integrating with QuickTeller? We need the API documentation. What are the risks? Are we exposing ourselves to some sort of risks if we do this? Stuff like that. So all of these can be managed using project management tools like ClickUp, Jira. You can have a bunch of backlog items. Best practices for sprint planning. Collaboration and communication is quite key. If everybody's voice is heard, everybody's idea is being considered, then you can come up with a more seamless way of completing an entire sprint as fast as possible. Honestly, I've had opportunities where people speak, even an intern spoke, and we are like, okay, we can go with that idea because the idea is quite smart and that will help us work faster. We have to talk about time management. As much as possible, everybody wants to discuss about that particular sprint and the features we want to develop. We need to know that we are working with time. We need to know that we have an estimated 2 to 4 weeks to use this particular feature, and for QA to also test and for us to regard that particular feature as done. We need to consider design. We need to consider front end. We need to consider the deployment by DevOps. We need to consider QA testing, writing their test script. So a lot of that has to be considered during sprint planning. So we also need to continuously refine our backlog and improve estimation techniques. As much as possible, if every item we need for each task to be executed is available, we can work as fast as possible. And as a product manager, the product manager needs to also manage the backlog so that as soon as that particular sprint is done with, we are already discussing the next sprint. We already know the things we want to prioritize based on the next. There's our common pitfalls and how to avoid them. So when you have lack of clear sprint goals, you are always defining sprint goals to guide the team to focus. You're always like, this is what we want to do. And then somebody else is like 2 days later, sorry, is this really what we want to do? Or the business team is like, I don't want to do that anymore. Let's change. The market has changed. It's quite a ridiculous thing to work with because the thing will keep going left, right, center. At the end of the day, nothing is going to be productive. When you have inadequate backlog, when you don't have enough information on your backlog, the thing is going to waste a lot of time. So for example, based on our case study here, bill payment solution, if you don't have the API documentation based on the fact that the company has not signed contracts with QuickTeller completely, everybody is going to just sit back, relax, waiting for the API and like, where is it? Let's integrate. Design is done. What else do we want to do? Even design would have to make changes by the time we see the API so that we know how it's going to, how the entire payload look like. So all of these are things that can actually affect the progress of anything when it comes to sprint. So I'm going to switch screen to my Jira boards and then we can discuss. So as a product manager, this is what we are going to do. We understand that we want to build a bill payment solution on our products, and we can come up with creating sprint goals. So we can start up here. So the name of our sprint can be bill payment, and the duration should last for 2 weeks. And the goal is provide bill payments on cash. Okay, so quite straightforward. We update that. The goal can be easily seen here. You can itemize the goal as much as possible, and then we can go ahead to create the necessary tasks. So during conversation of sprint planning, a developer can tell you, we are going to have the data aspect of it, data purchase. We would have the airtime purchase. We are going to have the electricity bill. Okay, so let's just leave that just quickly. Let's do those ones. So these are each task that we want to achieve under this particular sprint. Please, you cannot see when I'm about something. Okay, so for data purchase, as a project owner or scrum master or product manager, whatever the organization actually is, it is for this particular person to come here to give the description, attach the API documentation, right? So you can easily attach the API documentation so that developers can easily have access to it, or they can add the link to the API documentation. We can, as a product manager, you can also create child issue relating to QA coming to test, or child issue meaning we want to integrate specially to something else and it's related to this data purchase. You can create as much child issue as possible. A friend of mine will always tell you, we should always create child issue for QA to test. We should always create child issue for front ends to actually implement the endpoint and all of that, right? So that is also doable here. This place we can have user story. We can have a bit description of with regards to what this particular ticket is all about, and we can have the acceptance criteria. And with this now, we can easily just know what each developer is supposed to do. The acceptance criteria for data purchases. the user should be able to log into the ChipperCash platform, seal bill payments. User should be able to click on bill payments, click on that data, and user should be able to select a particular network plan, and user should be able to select 15 gig, 10 gig, 2 gig, click on purchase, and that particular amount to be reviewed. For 15 gig, you have to pay 2,000 naira, and then they go ahead to make purchase. Those are the things you list in your acceptance criteria. User story is quite straightforward. So as a user, I want to be able to purchase data off my ChipperCash application for my MTN line. Easy and straight. The description is somewhat related to the user story, and you assign this ticket to the developer. The developer, on the end, it depends on your organization. So where I work, the admin buckets, you can easily see when they merge and commit their development, right? Developer, on the other hand, knows the list of acceptance criteria that they're going to be working with. They can know that, oh, these are the things that I need to deliver. While integrating with this API, I need to also make sure that this particular API should be able to do this. Make a test with Postman or Swagger, depends on the tools they use to test. Put your setting payload, send a request, get your response. Oh, the response is valid, then you know that that particular endpoint is available. You can share with your front-end developer, and the front-end developer consumes that particular endpoint, implements it on the UI, and QA can come around and do their test case. So everything about this is all about sprint planning. And by the time they are all done with this thing, they can just call, update the tickets to done, and everybody moves on. We can close the sprint. The backlog will continuously remain open because as the market changes, there are a lot of new things that are going to be added to the market. Once upon a time, nobody knew that bill payment would grow as big as it is right now, where you can even book a flight, or I saw recently on the GT mobile application that you can even pay for your US embassy visit, right? It grows by day. All right, and as such, your backlog will continuously grow. You will continuously get new ideas coming in. You continuously see new things that you can be like, okay, we can add this to our bank, we can add this to our bill payment solution to just improve on the market and all of that. And as such, you keep refining the backlog. It's not for the developers to care what is happening on the backlog. It is for the product manager to continuously do that research and improve the backlog. Prioritize based on market demands. Hold a sprint planning session with the developers and let them know, okay, this is what we need to work on. This is what is expected of us. This is the goal. This is the objective. This is the key metrics we want to measure as this product of success. The developers ask for the necessary requirements, the feature requirements, the product requirement documents, user stories, personnel, whatever the case may be, and then they go ahead to implement those new changes and then deploy. So yeah, that is basically everything about sprint planning.
So if you have questions, you can ask Philip. If you don't understand what he has said, you can ask him. He'll go over it again, because sprint planning is a whole lot, but because of the time that we have, we want to be able to capture only the basics and the thing that you need, especially for us that are preparing to get into corporate teams or are already in corporate teams and really don't understand. Some people might be part of a team and they don't even do sprint planning. They just go ahead and, okay, tasks are assigned to them. And then you come back tomorrow and someone's asking you, oh, why is it taking you more than 5 days? Because there was no plan for it. If there was a plan for it, everybody's expecting that, okay, by the time it's today, you should be able to deliver on that. And if you're not able to deliver on that, you know on this part that it's your own fault. Or if everything is planned beforehand, everything is discussed. The designer has brought his own idea, the analyst has brought her own idea. The engineer is saying, okay, this is how much time we need to develop this because of all of this. I mean, everything, there'll be understanding in the team. So yeah, that's why we've touched on the things that you just need to know about sprint planning and let nobody wash your head, something like that. Yeah. So do you have a question?
Do you have to pay for my sprints to be hosted on Jira? Well, Jira is not free. Jira gives you free 30 days trial periods, and after that you would have to pay for Jira. So Jira is not free. You can actually do sprint planning on Jira. You can do that, but Jira is not free. I think ClickUp is not free. Also, I'm not sure about Trello or Asana, but most of all these project management tools are not free. So it requires payments. But sprint planning, you can just do it with the whiteboard, honestly, because it's just a conversation between you and your developers. And if it's on a call like this, you can easily just, have a session where you just put something like a Google Sheets or something like you guys just have a conversation. It's quite straightforward.
You have a question?
Thank you very much. Yes, I have a question. So my question is, you mentioned that story points can be between 0 and 5. Right? So what happens when the story points, like the team thinks about it and decides that the story point is more than 5? Like, what do they normally do in that scenario?
Okay, I like that question too. So the other truth about story points is same way you prioritize. It's all about priority. For QA, when they're testing, they call it P0, P1, P2, always P5, right? P0 being the most critical bug or defect you find on your platform, and P5 being the list, something you can easily ignore. It can be on production and nobody cares about it. That is how story points functions. The organization can have different numbers, right? But it's usually between 1 to 5, usually. Now, 1 being the most least of your concern. It can take me 10 seconds to fix. Those kind of developers that they know what to do. Maybe the color of one button on production is not meant to be, or the button is beginning to go to one angle and you're like, we need to adjust that button. That is how small it is. You can just give that 1. But something that is as important as 5, meaning users are shouting, I cannot log in. When users are telling you they cannot log in, that 1 is important. Nobody can do anything. They are money. They'll think you want to scam them. So you can rate that kind of task as 5. It is something you have to fix now. It's based on importance. Some other way a lot of developers see it is based on how much time that particular task is going to require. So a particular task of, I'm just trying to think of something, a particular task of just changing the color of the button, or, this button is not functional, let's check why it's not functional, let's integrate it to the endpoint. There might have been a disconnect. Compared to when you want to integrate with Webbank to provide virtual account numbers, it is 2 different things. So you can rate let's implement this endpoint so that this button can be working as 2. But that integrating with Webbank to provide virtual account numbers, that is something you have to rate as 5 story points, because it will take you a longer amount of time. So that's it as regards to story points. I hope that answers your question, Steve.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
We have another question in the comments. This is from Brenda. She says, my question is related to your role. Do you need to have experience in front-end engineering or software development?
My role as a product manager?
I suppose. Brenda, can you clarify?
Okay, I will just go ahead to answer Brenda's question based on my role, since she said my role. I will just assume you mean as a product manager. Well, Judith knows me for a very long time. My career started off dancing. I started off my career, I learned digital marketing. I saw it was not nice for me. I switched to front end. I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and I was learning React, and then I heard there was VUE and Angular, and I'm like, no, I'm done here. I ran away. I learned product design, and I was very good at product design. I was enjoying it, but I was not seeing a job. But I finally got a job as more like a project manager, and that's when I stumbled upon product management, and I spoke to Judith about it, and she was like, product management. So in tech, I think a lot of people just know what they want, and me, at least I didn't start my career doing what I want in tech. I just keep dabbling around until I fell in love with something and I sat my ass down. But the honest truth is, if you start your career off as a QA, backend, front-end designer, whatever the case may be, it is profitable to you. It's knowledgeable to you in the sense that you'll be able to discuss with your developers easily. You can easily relate with the development team. You can easily relate with the DevOps, QA team, the data engineer team, right? But as a product manager, your role goes beyond just interacting with those particular set of stakeholders. Your role goes into market researching, keeping up to date with what market trend is all about, understanding what your competitors are doing and how you can be better, measuring the success of your product against where is lacking, how much churn rates do we have, how do we want to improve our product, market positioning, do we want to consider sending our products to selling our products in Ghana market, compliance related, what is CPN saying? CPN says, we need to add NIN. Do we need to add NIN? Do we need to add Face ID identification? So as a product manager, it goes beyond just those particular set of stakeholders. Yes, it's profitable, but there are other aspects of product management, and that's why product management is so vast, because we are blessed with so many roles under product management, like technical product management, like growth product management, who is technical or focus on the development aspects, product owners focus on the development aspects, growth product manager are looking for how they could grow the product marketing manager and how those are focused on the marketing aspects, associate product manager who are new. Like, product management is quite vast, and there is room for growth in product management. Today, I'm a senior product manager, and I'm looking forward to becoming head of product or lead product manager or chief product manager. There is even director of product management. So it's quite a journey in product management. Or whatever your career path might start off with, you can always pick up product management, and you can pick up one particular aspect of product management and say, I'm owning this. I want to be a product owner. I want to be a growth product manager, and I want to grow with this. Yeah. You will get the opportunities as much as possible. I hope I was able to answer your question.
My question is, some teams don't have data, and I'm asking for, they have a few persons, or maybe I'm just asking for myself.
No
some
problem.
teams don't have data analysts, and some teams do have data analysts. And so in a sprint planning session, you get to hear the voice of the developer, you get to hear the voice of the product manager. When I mean voice, not just that they're talking, but like they're making contributions as to how the product is supposed to go, or that sprint is supposed to go. You hear the voice of the product designer, you hear the voice of the engineer, you hear the voice of the product manager. In what situation or in what circumstance do you hear the voice of the data analyst?
Okay, so Yeah, I don't know. but in all honesty, right? For every feature you're going to be developing, for every sprint, there are measurements of success that you want to take into place. Now, those measurements of success goes beyond just completing that particular sprint. It goes to when you've developed that particular feature, you've launched it into the market, and there are some certain metrics you are measuring to find out that, oh, is this thing profitable, right? How much users are making use of it? Are we having high adoption rates? What is the drop-off point? So those are places where data analysts play. They can help you with determining your key results. So we want to be able to achieve 200 of our customers purchasing data on a daily basis, and then within this period of 3 months, and then after 3 months they can help you fetch that data. There are even tools that can help you do that. If you integrate tools like Google Analytics or Google Firebase to your application, those tools can even mix panel and I think Amplitude. Those tools can help you get those data. You can easily see those data. You can even find out that these are the regions where your customers are located and all of that. But data analytics come in to help you manage your data. The data, honestly, data goes beyond just what the customers are doing. You can still fetch data from what is happening on the market, and that's where data analysis actually comes in also. So for example, business analysts can help you write a business requirements document after having sessions with sales and marketing team, and with that business requirement documents, you can now convert that document into an FROD or a PROD that your developers can easily work with, right? So they are quite important. They might not necessarily have to join your sprint planning session or have conversations with you, but they are very important in organization. Data analysts, business analysts can also help you provide the necessary dashboards and build the necessary data pipeline where you can easily view things that are happening on your application. Or at the end of the month, a total transaction of this has passed through, successfully failed. We have high failed rates. We have high inactive customers. This is based on the data they are fetching out of the database or the Power BI dashboard that they've given to you to view. So they are quite an important aspect of anything. But they necessarily have to join your sprint planning. Well, they should rest. They used to vex me, so they should rest.
Thank you for that answer. I'm going to contribute and say, yeah, they might not necessarily join, but the sprint planning session, they even actually have data to what happens in the sprint planning. I mean, they can tell you this sprint planning is not having any effects on how the team is doing. Okay, the last sprint planning we did, it was able to help us do well in this particular sprint, and they can tell you this venture you're about to go into, I mean, it's not profitable or it is. So yeah, if you choose to join, fine. If you choose not to join, fine. But yeah, the sprint planning is important to everyone on the team.
Yes. So you mentioned the acceptance criteria a couple of times. I would like to know, like, whose job is it to determine what acceptance criteria for a feature should be, or a ticket? Is it the Scrum Master or the product manager or product owner, or the job of the team leader?
Okay, so different organizations, different style. By what do I mean different organization, different style? It's all about how big is your team, right? Do you have so many developers that you have Scrum Masters, you have project managers, you have product owner, product manager? The organization like InterSwitch has all of them, right? But Kuda will not have all of them because they don't have the money to pay them. So it's just like that. If an organization as small as Kuda, you can have just the product manager playing the role of a Scrum Master, writing acceptance criteria, user stories, and breaking it down. Some other organizations, they will tell you that Scrum Master can break down from user stories into acceptance criteria. It depends on your team and what your team is able to do. But most of the time, 80% of the time, the product manager and the product owner writes acceptance criteria, because most of these acceptance criteria comes from their documentation. They also have it when they are creating the epic. They know better what they are looking forward to the team building. That's why they write the acceptance criteria. That's just it. But if your team is big and people have money and you have Scrum Master, the Scrum Master can now pick those acceptance criteria the product manager has written and then based it on each task of that particular user story or a very robust acceptance criteria. Just take it into bits that, oh, this particular task has 3 acceptance criteria and this one has 5. I would have to add to this based on conversation they might have had with developers. Because another thing is developers can also increase your acceptance criteria. While integrating or while coding, they'll tell you that, oh, this particular thing is important. You might have skipped it and added it. Even QA can tell you where you missed out on an acceptance criteria when they are testing. They'll tell you, oh, you didn't list this. Please, can you add it so that it can be part of my test case? So it happens.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I just wanted to add in just a few points about the whole Scrum Master stuff. Although concerning the planning, like suggestion and all in the meeting, I think it shouldn't be just from the Scrum Master and all, but the QA and other engineering team can also contribute, and because we are working with various and vast experience from everybody, whereby we get experience from different individuals and with them to get a good product. So I think not just the Scrum Master alone gives the final conclusion on the product build. So that's what I think.
That's a very interesting contribution, Kingsley. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, everybody has a responsibility to making sure that the product is well built. In a situation where a task is estimated, like the story point is estimated to be 5, there might be a round, whether the Scrum Master or the product manager is going around and saying, okay, how long do you think this will take? And somebody's saying, let's say somebody's saying 5, somebody's saying 3, somebody's saying 2, somebody's saying 1. How do you agree on the different viewpoints of the team members? Especially if the person that's supposed to take that task is saying, okay, this should be like 3, and somebody else is saying 1. Yeah, how do you reconcile that?
So I would give you a practical example, because it's all about communication at the end of the day and the kind of knowledge that someone would have. The practical example would be, we were in the current place of work, we were building our product SDK, we are building React Native SDK, and it was estimated to story points of 5 to develop that particular React Native SDK. And then they were taking forever to complete the entire SDK. Give an estimation of about a month to complete the entire SDK. And then when they were like, oh, we are done, we got somebody to test, a full stack developer, an outsider to actually come and test it. And he came in and he said, this SDK, there was no need for this. This is too long. Let's take it down. Let's build it using, I think iframe or so, I can't remember right now. Right? And in less than 30 minutes on the call with him that particular day, he develops an entire React Native SDK in less than 30 minutes. What took somebody 1 entire month to develop, another person did it in less than 30 minutes. Right? So at the end of the day, it's all about the knowledge of whoever is building it, whoever owns that particular task, how much knowledge they have, right? And if somebody else is able to tell you that, we can do it for lesser, it doesn't have to be this. You just need to, as a product manager or a Scrum Master or even a developer, all you need to do is ask how. Show me how I can do it in lesser time. Teach me, right? Let me learn so that I can see it. You guys cannot join heads together and be like, oh, it wouldn't work because of this. Oh, I see your point. You should be able to do that. Let me do that. And if I run into any blocker, I'll reach out to you. That settles that particular issue once and for all. And then most likely the story points might reduce and the time to market might reduce. So in some other cases, it might not, based on who has looked at the code can easily tell you what he's seeing. The other person is not the one sitting and looking at it on a daily basis, right? So it all depends. But communication is key. It's all about communication. If you can share the ideas together and both look at it, you can see the reason why that person is saying, oh, you can do it for lesser time. Maybe he has done it in another organization before he joined your company. That's why he believes he can do it for a lesser time. So that's just it.
Thank you very much. You answered it in the best way possible. This is a reminder to everyone that you should always try to shadow somebody that's more experienced on your team. You might get to learn even more than you imagine. So we don't have a case of I saw it somewhere cheaper and then you get the worst quality. Hi Mohammed, are you there?
Yeah. Good evening.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never heard of this Scrum Master before, but what I've heard of is the product manager, quality assurance, this thing, and the product designer and people that test the software and stuff like that. But I've not heard of this Scrum Master.
Okay, so your question is, who are Scrum Masters?
Yeah.
So a Scrum Master is basically an individual who manages the development team, who work closely with them based on sprint planning, sprint retro, calculate the sprint velocity, maintain the entire sprint process flow from to do all the way to done, help with daily stand-up, help with finding any solution for the blockers the developers have. If the blocker is related to something that they need to reach out to the product manager to do that, get the information they need and make clarification, the paradise based on the sprints and all of that. So they are mostly for organizations that work on agile methodologies, and they call them Scrum Master because one of the methodologies on that agile is Scrum. There's another one called Kanban, and those are their job, just basically managing that particular sprint from end to end, all the way from when they give them the list of tasks that they need to do. Oh, this is the particular feature we are going to be working on. They kickstart with sprint planning. After sprint planning, they create the entire task. After that, they do daily stand-up to keep up to date with the developers and with progress flow. After that, by the end of the sprint, if there are any challenges, they reach out to the product owner or the product manager, get feedback, or sync the developer and the product manager, resolve the problem, and then make sure that the development team is sticking to timeline. At the end of the sprint, they hold a sprint session, retro session, where they can have a session where they can discuss what happened during the sprint. They measure the sprint velocity. Oh, we completed our tasks before the 2-week sprint, and we can do that. We can move better, and all of that. Those are their jobs on the day-to-day basis. Okay, that's what they do.
Yeah. So it's just to like speed up the process.
Yeah, they just it's more like maintenance and make sure nobody is blocked by any blocker. That is what they do. They just make sure that they are readily available. They are keeping up to date. They're asking questions. They are following up with developers. Those are the guys that would hold your daily stand-up. Product managers do daily stand-up too. In an organization that has Scrum Master, those are the guys that handles sprint planning. Those are the guys that handles sprint retro. Those are the guys that handles daily stand-up.
We have a last question. It's a regular question. What is the difference between project and product manager? Do you need both for the completion of the projects?
The difference between every time they ask me this particular question, I keep laughing because it's two different things, and yet it gets mixed up every single time. I will give you a practical example. Let's take, for example, you want to construct a building, and a project manager, first off, they don't care where you want to construct your building, right? Okay, so someone is Bashara to the Scrum Master. All right, so a product manager can go and work with quantity surveys, come and survey the lands and say, oh, this is the location, let's buy this land. We'll buy the land, this is what we want to build. We are buying this land because, let's say for example, we are buying this land because it's close to Unilag. As such, if we build 5-story building, mini flats, Unilag students to come and rent it, they will pay us plenty money. Product manager is doing a lot of those. That is the research, that is product positioning. The product in this case is the building, right? You are researching your environment, you are positioning your building. Your age grade or your geographical area is Unilag. Your age grade is targeting university students. Do you see that? Now the next thing is you now bring in your project manager. Come and build this land. Project manager will call, oh, lay the foundation, give me sand, give me bricks, let's build, give me appliances, let's put the roof. By the time project manager has put the roof and put all the electrical appliances and water is ready, the project manager is going to tell you bye-bye. They are gone. But your product manager is not going anywhere. Your product manager is the one coming back to do maintenance. Oh, let's see if the gate is closing. What's the issue with this thing? Let's fix it. Let's see how we can improve. The driveway is too small. We still have land. Let's add more cement. Let's expand the driveway. More people are having cars. Let's expand. Let's accommodate for new people. Let's increase rent. Because our competitors in the environment, they've increased rent. It's only us that don't have increased rent. Let's put generator in the compound. It will attract Yahoo boys who will pay more. Put generator that will make them come. This is product management. You keep thinking of how to make your products better so that nobody will go and rent house somewhere else. They will keep renting your own house. But for project management, they just came, build the house at them. They are gone. Nothing else concerns them. I hope you're able to now see the difference between product manager and project manager.
Just a quick one.
All right.
I just want to ask, so how do you prioritize conflicting stakeholders' demand while ensuring the product vision stays aligned with the company strategic goals?
Did you go to Google to go and research that question and come for me?
No.
Anyway.
I'm an associate product guy, you know.
Okay,
that's what I
okay, that's fantastic. All right, so see something there. Since you are into products, stakeholders are very annoying because they know the truth, but they will never listen to the truth. But on a more serious note, how you prioritize is based on there are various prioritizing methods out there. Right, like Moscow method, or Rice method, or Kano method, whatever the case may be. Or you want to just prioritize on what your product needs, right? What is the market saying? Is your customer saying? What kind of revenue do you want to prioritize on? Are you going to prioritize revenue? Are you going to prioritize compliance? Because it can be compliance related, right? So it's those kind of things you need to consider first. If your product is having a downtime of production, obviously you prioritize that ahead of whatever stakeholder requirements is. If CBN is coming and it says make sure you add NIN before 30th of August, you need to prioritize that.
And invalidation. Okay.
Yeah. So those are things you need to consider. You need to just put yourself in an outside of the box stage and look at it on the neutral level first as a product manager. How much impact is it going to make to our product if we prioritize the stakeholders' request ahead of what we already have planned on our roadmap? Because there's a roadmap you are following, right? If the request is coming because of Dangote is going to bring 300 million, yes, that would skyrocket revenue. But if you miss the deadline CBN has given to you to add NIN, CBN will drop the hammer on you, and that 300 million will take you to go and sell to CBN. So at the end of the day, that's waste. So it's important for a product manager to think about prioritization every single time. What kind of method do you want to use to prioritize? There are various methods like I mentioned. You can use it to prioritize, but prioritization is quite key. Prioritize based on what is important: markets, users, compliance, stakeholders, CEO, the roadmap. That's how you prioritize. It's all about prioritization.